Common Nature Center. I am Miss Kim. Are you ready for your virtual field trip? Come, let's explore fall. Hi Tree Sleuths! Today we're going to go on Northfield Loop learning about how to identify conifers and deciduous trees. Come with me. Hey, take a look at this. This is a white pine. This is a conifer tree. Conifer is a really cool type of tree. It has needles and produces a cone. Think cone, conifer. The reason why I know it's a white pine is all pines have a cluster of needles. And what I mean by a cluster of needles is see how they're all connected at one end? When I pick it, they're all connected. Now, if you spread those needles apart, there should be 5 needles. Can you count them? Now, this is a really neat way to identify a white pine. How do you spell the word white? W-H-I-T-E. 5 letters. So if you can actually count 5 needles and spell the word white, it is a white pine. All pine needles have a cluster together. They're different numbered. Some have 3, some have 2. Their width, see how this is skinny? Their width can be really thick or thin, and their size is different. And it's all according to the type of tree. So all white pines have 5 needles connected in a cluster at the end and are very thin and long. They're a very common conifer. All conifers produce a cone. Our white pine produces a long cone. They come in all sorts of different shapes according to what type of conifer it is. Sometimes they're itty bitty, sometimes they're big and long, and sometimes they're fat. This one is about the average size of a white pine cone, so skinny and long. A cone holds seeds. Now I'm going to see if I can pull this apart. Inside the shingle, there is a pocket. It's hard to see, but it's actually right there, the little pocket, and it holds a seed. And sometimes what you'll find is a whole pile of these shingles on the ground. Squirrels and other seed-loving critters will tear the shingles off to get to those seeds. So what happens is the cone grows like this on the tree. It's all covered in sap until those seeds grow to being mature. Then it opens up and drops the seeds to grow new conifers. Now, conifers are really, really cool. All conifers have the needles, which is a type of leaf, which really boggles my mind. But this itty bitty thin thing is a leaf. So that means it is able to produce food. It gathers up the sunlight, gathers the carbon dioxide, gathers the water from the ground, and creates this food in that needle, and it flows down the trunk of the tree. Now, conifers are really, really cool. I want you to think a minute. It's coming up soon, Christmas time. Some of you must get a live Christmas tree. When you're putting on the ornaments on the tree, you ever get that sticky stuff on your fingers? I already kind of have it. People call it pitch. That's the sap that we talk about. That thick, hardy sap flows all the way down to the roots. And then the roots suck all that water up and flow it back up the tree to the leaves. Now in Christmas time, the needles are so bright green. And that's because it can still produce food even in the winter time. And that is because of that thick sap that we get stuck on our fingers. That does not mean that they do not lose their leaves or their needles. Conifers will lose their needles one at a time. Just think about it. You're getting ready for school. You're brushing your hair. And you look at that comb or brush and you got pieces of hair in your brush. It's because that hair was done with its lifespan. It's the same thing. This is like tree hair. That maybe this one will go, and this one will go, but not all the needles come off at the same time. Why? Well, that's easy enough. Because it stays active all year long, it still needs the food. So they can't just drop all of their needles all at once. Now I'm going to introduce you to a tree that does lose its leaves, not needles. Come over this way. This here is called a shagbark hickory tree. It's one of the easiest ones to identify because of the bark here comes in peels of shags. Isn't that neat? Not every tree does that. The shagbark hickory is known as a deciduous tree. Deciduous trees form leaves that drop in the fall, and they also produce seeds. This case, a hickory nut. This is how hickory nut grows. See how it's connected to the stem? Oh, look at this! A tussock moth. He's eating our hickory leaves. Isn't that neat? He's on the leaf here. Let's see the leaf. If I can get one down. Our hickory doesn't have just one single leaf. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves connected on the same stem. This is called a compound leaf. Isn't that neat? Different types of trees have different counts of leaves on the same stem. But hickory have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves on the same stem. So I went and found a hickory nut. It looks like this. This is actually small for its size. A real true hickory nut is about twice the size of this. So if you were a squirrel or a seed-loving critter, you would pull the husk off to get to the center. And this is what the center of the hickory nut looks like. And this is the husk that was peeled off. See how thick that husk is? That's to protect it when it falls off of the tree and lands to the ground. So, all deciduous trees have thinner sap. So what happens in the fall is they can't survive the winter. Their sap will freeze in the trunk of the tree. So when I was talking about the conifer making that food, it's the same thing. Those leaves are doing photosynthesis. They're taking the light, they're taking the water, the carbon dioxide, and turning that food and flowing it down to feed their roots. But in the wintertime, their sap is too thin. In our cold temperatures, it would freeze and crack that trunk. So what they do is go dormant. And that is a fancy word for taking all its life, all that food, all that energy, and storing it into the roots to start for the next spring. What we're going to do is talk a little bit more about changing colors in leaves, but I like to explore the trail and find a really good, colorful tree to do that. So come follow me. Hey, we made it. Look at this, a maple. This is actually a red maple. You can see the colors in it. Starts green, like this. This is filled with chlorophyll. And then what happens is this leaf gets disconnected. If you look right here, what happens is the end forms a waxy barrier. It disconnects the leaf from the branch. The leaf then can't get any water, and that green starts to leave. You see this? This leaf is already changing from green to red. The true color of this maple is red. All different types of species have different colors. Some are red, some are yellow, some are orange, and they're all different hues of color. Maples have a light red or even sometimes like a dark purple, depending on the species. Now we have two very common maples around here. One is the red maple. The red maple is narrow at the end and comes out just like this, and it has a red stem leaf. A sugar maple is thicker and wider. It looks like a stockier leaf. Think of the Canadian flag. That is a sugar maple. Maples are one of my favorite trees for fall foliage color. Next time you go out, maybe you can identify a maple. Hi everybody! We went and explored two different types of trees today. We explored conifers and deciduous trees. In your virtual field trip packet, you have a worksheet. Get the worksheet printed out. And what I did is I took a hardcover book and just clipped it to the hardcover, and it makes a little makeshift clipboard. What you're gonna do is when you go out, find two different trees, one conifer and one deciduous. They don't have to be next to one another, but it will be a little bit easier if you find the two trees next to one another. So I just went outside the Nature Center grounds and I found a conifer, which is right here. And then I found a deciduous over here. When you find your two trees, you're going to draw one in each box. So like here, you would draw a conifer, and then you would draw a deciduous tree. Do a real good job. Draw the leaves, draw the bark, make as detailed as a picture as you can. And if you have time, even a little color would be nice. Then you're going to go to step 2. You're going to list 7 adjectives of the conifer and the deciduous tree. So these are words that you're going to describe. Is it spiky? Is it smooth? Is it soft? those different types of words for the conifer and your deciduous. Then you're going to move to step 3. You're going to list 10 things that are similar between your two trees. So a similarity would be they both have roots or they both have bark. So things that are the same between the two. Then step 4, you're going to list 10 different things. So a different thing would be like a conifer produces a cone. A deciduous produces an individual seed. Things like that. Or another one might be a conifer has thick sap. A deciduous has thin sap. All different things that you can possibly put down for the two. Have fun with this. This is a great way to start learning how to identify your neighborhood trees.